Hi, hello. Today we're going to be talking about the 7-star Psychic Meganium raid that is going to be happening on this weekend and next weekend. If you're new here, my name is Steve. I build raid Pokemon that work really well together. They also work when you go online with random players, but ideally they work optimally in groups. And since 7-star raids now drop Herba Mystica, or at least the last 3 7-star raids, and then the 5-star raids after dropped Herba Mystica, if this raid drops Herba Mystica, we'll want to do the raid as fast as possible so we can get as much Herba Mystica as possible. Which means if you have an optimal team, you can do that really quickly. Before we get into the 6 Pokemon that I built that you can use for Meganium, let's talk about Meganium. It's really bad. Let's just start there. It's one of the worst starters when it comes to just how it is built. And I don't really know what would make Meganium better, but the hidden ability on Meganium is Leaf Guard, which is not great. It would just prevent status type conditions when the sun is up. Not a great ability overall. Its stats are very mediocre. Actually, when I was thinking about this, I think if Meganium was a lot slower and you put that speed EVs into something else, it would be a better Pokemon. And it is a little bit bulkier, I guess, than other bosses, but on top of its stats being not super great, its move pool is also really lackluster. So the moves that we would worry about here, and for those that are new here, I only pick the strongest moves and we build Pokemon based off the strongest move it can learn. Because, for example, if we can survive Solar Beam, then obviously we would be able to survive Giga Drain, or if we're able to survive Solar Blade, we would be able to survive Seed Bomb, for example. So we're going off the strongest moves here, not necessarily that these are the final moves from Meganium, but these are the strongest that it can learn in its category. On the physical side, we have Solar Blade, Double Edge, Earthquake, Zen Headbutt, and Outrage. And Zen Headbutt is probably the move we are going to for sure see, since it is the only psychic type attack that it can learn. Zen Headbutt is probably a guarantee here. I would be really surprised if it didn't have Outrage. Outrage actually makes Meganium have some decent coverage and could hit for something that can do at least standard damage. Earthquake would be nice too. Some coverage as well, but on the special side, it's even worse. Solar Beam would be the strongest special type move. Weather Ball would be really cool to see. I think Venusaur would have been a way better Weather Ball user than Meganium. So if it does set Sun, it would get a Fire type Weather Ball, which has a little bit of coverage. I guess it has really good coverage if people are planning on bringing Bug Pokemon to this raid, since Bug is super effective against Psychic. Weather Ball can be easily stopped with either Rain or by just shutting down Weather altogether. And Ancient Power is an egg move. I don't expect it to have that, but it is a rock type move that it can eventually get. The status type moves are a little bit more interesting. This could be finally our Pokemon that has both Reflect and Light Screen, since it is the Psychic Tera type. This is really easy to counter. You can either counter this with Brick Break or Psychic Fangs. And a lot of the Pokemon I built have access to that move. If, for whatever reason, Meganium doesn't have Light Screen or Reflect, I would imagine this raid would be even easier than anticipated. But also then you just don't need Brick Break or Psychic Fangs, and you can swap those moves out for anything else. Synthesis does work in the sun. Safeguard is really useless here since its ability is doing what Safeguard's doing, so I don't expect that. Sunny Day I think we would see because that directly benefits its ability. It does get access to Swords Dance and Curse, although even with that, I don't think it's that threatening. And then it does get access to Fake Tears, and Charm. So yeah, there's some stuff going on. If we do see Fake Tears, Charm, Curse, Swords Dance, these moves, we can stop this really easily with a Taunt, assuming that it's not doing these behind the Raid Shield. But there's not a lot to look at here. I guess it could have Body Slam, and that would be at least annoying for Paralysis. But again, these are the strongest moves it can learn. Take that for what it is. I built all these Pokemon to survive these moves just fine, so if the moves do less damage, even better for the 6 we built. All right, let's start off with the best of the best, which is Incineroar, one of my favorite Pokemon, and probably the best Pokemon for this raid's hands down. Now, before we begin with the 6 of these, I'll be honest, if you have a Bug-type Tera Mew from the Mewtwo raid, it will work fine here. I do want to remind you that it's not the best Pokemon. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people forgot that Mew got a huge stat boost against fighting Mewtwo because that was built into the code. And there will be no attack boost here. So that makes Pokemon like Incineroar stronger by default because its attack stat is 115, meaning that Incineroar would be able to outdamage Mew. Incineroar also has really good resistances built in with Fire and Dark. Incineroar also has a much better ability than Mew, with coming in with Intimidate. But if you want to, like I said earlier, if you want to do these raids as quickly as possible and get them done faster for more Herba Mystica, Incineroar will be able to out DPS Mew hands down super easily with both Leech Life and Power Trip. Just to understand on how to play Incineroar, you will pretty much start with a bulk up that will let you survive. The most threatening thing that Meganium could do here is Earthquake. So bulk up will let you survive that much better. And then you will Leech Life until you can Terrasilize and or just until you get full health again. And then you'll want to Power Trip when you are at full health and then switch back to Leech Life when you need more health. Power Trip is like stored power, which some people might be familiar with like Slowbro or other Pokemon that learn stored power. It's a dark type stored power. In order for Power Trip to do more damage than Leech Life, you would need to be at a +2. But even so, you're still better doing Leech Life because they're going to be doing the same damage and you're going to be getting health back with Leech Life. So realistically, what I would recommend is 1 Bulk Up, 1 Swords Dance, and then Power Trip. That will put you at a +4. And why both Swords Dance and Bulk Up is here? Because I think the optimal combination is 2 Bulk Ups and 2 Swords Dances and then Power Trip. That will give you a +6 in your attack and a +2 in your defense. And that's why we're seeing both of them. If you're finding that you're not using one over the other, Incineroar gets access to Taunt, Brick Break, Snarl, a lot of other moves that could help out the team or just help out the composition. But optimal, that's why we have both, is Eevees should be on screen. It's 252 HP, 216 attack, and 40 defense. Expert Belt will boost super effective moves by 20%. So not only will it boost Leech Life, which is super effective, it will boost Power Trip, which is really great. I'm going to do a quick detour here that there's a ton of items you could put on Incineroar, but Leech Life gets you health back. If Leech Life is stronger because of Expert Belt, you'll be getting more life back. And then if you were to switch that out with like a big root, you would be getting more life back, but not doing as much damage. There's a lot of different combinations of items that you can put on Incineroar with a combination of doing more damage or getting more health back. I think Expert Belt is a really good in-between of that, on top of it being able to also boost Power Trip. So if there's a whole stream of this complicated math. This is like the notes that I did my work here. But Incineroar is really great. Plus, you'll be starting the raid and pushing Meganium down to a -1 right away with Intimidate. So we do expect Meganium to be a mixed attacker. It knowing Zen Headbutt kind of gives that away. But even if it is just an all-physical attacker, Intimidate is really great here as an ability. But again, just Leech Life is probably the move you're going to hit the most, but Power Trip, again, is kind of like that late game or Terrasilized. You just don't want to hit Power Trip because it's incredibly weak. It's only base 20, where Leech Life is base 80, and both of these are super effective moves. Now, Power Trip does get the benefit of the same type attack bonus, the Stab. But again, even with 1 Swords Dance, Power Trip is only going to get to about 80. So you only want to hit Power Trip when you're at like 2 Bulk Ups or 2 Swords Dances or a Swords Dance and a Bulk Up. It's really important to understand how that move works. But Incineroar will be able to out DPS almost any other Pokemon that you bring to this raid. Our next Pokemon is going to be Zarude with the Stellar Tera type. Ignore my Zarude with Dark Tera type. Dark is also fine if you don't have enough shards. I'm literally 3 shards short, and as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to change it to Stellar, but Stellar is optimal here. Zarude has one of the best type combinations against this raid, which is Dark Grass. It resists a lot. The only threatening move that Meganium could have here is Body Press. In even Body Press, I think is a 4-hit KO, and if a Reflect is up, it ends up being a 7-hit KO. Zarude will have access to Crunch, Snarl, Bulk Up, Jungle Healing. You can also put Taunt here. You can also put Brick Break here with the screens. You can also put Swords Dance here, so kind of similar to Incineroar in moves. We're going to put Shell Bell as an item to get health back. We don't have that built-in health recovery like we do with Leech Life on Incineroar. If there is something like Body Press, which we're worried about, I actually don't think Body Press was on my initial. I don't know why it wasn't there. Fun fact, Meganium can also learn Body Press. It's not that threatening because it doesn't have, Meganium doesn't have access to like Iron Defense or something. 1 Bulk Up will turn a Body Press, I think, from a 4-hit KO to a 6-hit KO. So really great to negate that. On top of that, the coolest thing that Zarude has is Jungle Healing. So Jungle Healing is like a Life Dew. or Cresselia's Life Dew, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Lunar Blessing, which will heal everyone on your team. It's like a free heal cheer. It's really great. It will also remove status type conditions, but Meganium doesn't have anything that can really status us. Maybe it has like poison powder. I don't think it'll have that, nor is that threatening, but jungle healing does remove status conditions. Really, really easy here. You're pretty much gonna crunch, maybe bulk up or swords dance. Jungle healing, if you need to help out a team, go back to crunching. Leaf Guard's a bad ability. It's the same ability as Meganium, so don't worry about that too much. But if you got a Zarude recently in Pokemon Go, if you got a Zarude from Sword and Shield, Zarude is great here. Again, like the only really threatening move I think is Body Press, but it's not even that threatening at all. 252 HP, 252 attack, 4 defense. If Meganium does open up with screens and you have no other Brick Breakers, Zarude can just open up with Brick Break, remove those screens. If Meganium is being really annoying with like Synthesis or whatever other, or Sunny Day, or what other annoying moves it could have, Curse, Zarude can use Taunt. Zarude does outspeed Meganium as well. So really good base stat total here. Zarude's base stat total is 600, which is the same as other mythicals. But Zarude also outdamages something like Mew. Mew's attack stat is 100. Zarude's is 120. Finally, Zarude has a time to shine. So here we go. You can use Zarude finally. Our next Pokemon is going to be a support Pokemon. It is going to be Screamtail. Screamtail is going to be our screener because it does get access to both Light Screen and Reflect. And I think Reflect will make a lot of Pokemon work in general. We do suspect that Meganium will be a mixed attacker. If for some reason it is just a physical attacker, we obviously do not need Light Screen. There's tons of other moves you can teach Screamtail instead of Light Screen if it doesn't have any special moves. Helping Hand comes to mind at first. We also have Psychic Fangs on Screamtail. That is to be our main screen breaker, assuming that Meganium has screens itself. If it doesn't, we just remove Psychic Fangs, and Screamtail can learn Crunch, which is a great Dark-type move, super effective, 20% chance to decrease Meganium's physical defense. But the real thing why I picked Screamtail over Grimmsnarl was originally in the slot, is because of Howl. I do suspect to see a lot of those Mews that we saw in Mewtwo, and I also expect to see a lot of Annihilapes. I think Annihilape is okay behind a Reflect, but I think a lot of Pokemon are okay behind a Reflect. Urshifu is another good example. I think Urshifu is fine here too behind a Reflect. But I wanted a Pokemon with Howl to boost everyone's physical attack. You notice we are going physical this route, and I made that decision just because because of what I just said, Mew and Annihilate. We're going to see a lot of those. So in order to accelerate the raid and make it easier and faster and better for everyone, I wanted a Howler on the team. Howl will boost everyone's physical attack by +1. Going back to Incineroar with Power Trip, this works perfect with Incineroar. Incineroar can bulk up to make itself bulkier and then get that boost from Screamtail. So we have a really good combination with Screamtail and Incineroar. If you're playing with Grandma could be a support Screamtail. You can be that hard-hitting Incineroar. Perfect combination, and I know Grandma will appreciate playing Screamtail. EV's 252 HP, 252 defense, 4 special defense. A really interesting thing about Screamtail is its ability Protosynthesis. It will activate based on your highest stat. I wanted special defense to still be high, but not higher than defense. If you actually look here, you'll see that defense is 4 points higher than its special defense. So if Meganium gets Sun up, your defense will actually boost even higher with the Sun is up. That's cool. That's beneficial. We don't need speed to go up, and we don't really need attack or special attack to go up, since Screamtail has really, really low special attack and special attack and physical attack. So Screamtail's full support if you like playing that. If for whatever reason you're playing on Violet and you don't have access to Screamtail, I got 2 other support options that you can run as well. But Howl is going to benefit all of our Pokemon on our team because all of these Pokemon are physical attackers. It's going to benefit Annihilate, Urshifu, Low Kicks, Mew, any other physical attackers you see. So if you're playing online with people and you're that brave soul that likes to connect to the internet and play with randoms, Screamtail's probably going to be your best bet. Before we get to our next 3 Pokemon, if you could take a second and hit the like button and subscribe and maybe leave a comment which of these 6 Pokemon you like the most, or which Pokemon you're bringing to Meganium, that would be super helpful. I put a lot of work into these videos, so like any interaction with this is appreciated a lot. And if you need any help this weekend with Meganium, or if you just want to grind Herba Mystica with, assuming it has Herba Mystica, you can join us over at Twitch. I stream all these raids. I help as many people get through as possible. And if you need help with even building a Pokemon, you can come by and just hang out on Twitch. Our next Pokemon against Meganium is going to be Rayquaza. I don't think Rayquaza is actually the best here, but it has one of the best abilities that I wanted to use, which is called Airlock. What Airlock will do is it'll eliminate weather. So even if Meganium uses Sunny Day, it won't actually do anything. So let's say, for example, Meganium wants to use Sunny Day on turn 0 before we can even do anything, and then use Solar Beam or Solar Blade. It will actually shut down the ability for it to use it right away, because both those moves need a turn to charge. And if the sun is up, it doesn't. It can use them instantly. But because Airlock is there, it will actually prevent that from happening. The same thing with like Meganium trying to use Synthesis. It will still be able to use Synthesis, but it won't get as much HP back. In the past, I would say like, oh, we're going to use Rain Dance to eliminate the sun, or we're going to use sun to eliminate the rain. But usually we take advantage of the weather. There's no reason for us to take advantage of the weather here. There's no like benefit of us being in the rain or us being in the sun. That being said, Rayquaza does have access to Crunch, and Rayquaza has the attack stat of 150. So again, going back to Mew's attack stat is 100, Incineroar's attack stat is 115, Zarude's attack stat is 120. These are all really good. But Rayquaza has 150 attack stats, so it does hit really hard here. It does get access to Brick Break to shatter any shields. Again, I will stress, because some people only click through these and see the graphics and they don't listen to the explanation, and then I see them brick breaking for no reason. If Meganium does not have shields, screens. If Meganium does not have screens, we do not need Brick Break at all. There's other moves we can teach Rayquaza instead. But I cannot... Man, if they don't have screens, I don't know. Meganium's already bad. I feel like it definitely needs to set screens, but I don't know. Game Freak's weird sometimes. Anyways, you can Swords Dance to make your Crunch stronger. You'll have the Shell Bell to get health back. You will want to open up with Dragon Cheer. Dragon Cheer will give everyone a higher critical hit rate. That means they'll do more damage when they do crit. There's 2 Rayquazas on the field. They can Dragon Cheer each other, which is really great. So there is some synergy as well with 2 Rayquazas. Rayquaza kind of needs to be behind a Reflect, though. Assuming that the Outrage that I was mentioning earlier, Outrage does have really good coverage against like a Rayquaza or even a Goodra with Acid Spray, because Goodra is a special defensive Pokemon and not a defensive, so Outrage does hit Goodra really hard. Of course, Rayquaza sitting next to Incineroar is very helpful, because Incineroar gets that Intimidate off. Rayquaza is really easy to use, just 252 HP, 196 attack, 60 defense. Rayquaza also gets access to Leer. Leer's not as good as Screech, but still beneficial to the entire team. Speaking of Leer, there's a better move called Screech, and we have 2 Screechers. So these are our last 2 support Pokemon. The first one being Swadloon. For some reason, you guys love when I build small little guys like Charjabug or Clefairy. I think you guys just love Eviolite. I wasn't originally going to build Swadloon. I think he's really cool here. We needed a weather setter anyways in case no one was playing Rayquaza. So here's our Rain Dance to eliminate Sun. And then we have both Strugglebug and Lunge. Strugglebug will lower the special attack of Meganium. That benefits the entire team. And then Lunge will lower the physical attack of Meganium. In a situation where Meganium might have Zen Headbutt, Outrage, Earthquake, no matter what Pokemon you bring, Lunge will be able to lower and lower and lower that attack stat, make the team incredibly survivable. No one should be able to faint then. And then, of course, we have Screech. Screech will accelerate our physical attackers, whether that's Incineroar, Urshifu, Annihilate, Mew, just so you can do more damage. And yeah, Rain Dance to eliminate the sun. Really easy. Here, a really cute support Pokemon that you can build with 252 HP, 136 defense, 120 special defense. Screech is an egg move, so you will need to get Screech off a different Pokemon. I got my Screech off my Umbreon, which we're about to talk about in a second, but all you have to do is put the Mirror Herb onto Swadloon, delete a move, so there's only 3 moves, Picnic with a Pokemon that has Screech, and then it will get Screech. Yeah, Screech is an egg move, so that's, I think, the only egg move out of all 6 of our Pokemon that you'd have to worry about. But he's a cute little guy. Bad ability. ability is not going to matter here. This Swadloon will survive any move better than any other Pokemon I built here. So you'll be able to use your Struggle Bug or your lunges, and then in between, you'll be in charge of heal cheering your team. And then our final Screecher is going to be Umbreon with the Zoom Lens. I really like Zoom Lens as a held item. Umbreon is a really slow Pokemon, slower than Meganium. That means that will increase the accuracy when it goes second. Because Umbreon will go second because it's slower, it will make a move like Screech 100% accurate instead of 85% accurate. We have another screener here with Reflect. Obviously, Umbreon can also learn Light Screen if that is needed. Honestly, I would probably do Reflect and Snarl instead of Reflect and Light Screen, if that's a route you want to go down. It does get access to Crunch, although because the other Pokemon do way more damage than Umbreon, you probably won't rely on Crunch. You'll open up with Reflect. You'll prioritize Screech as long as you can Screech. Remember, you cannot Screech when the Raid Shield is up. And then Helping Hand. I think I've explained this in other videos. I want to explain it here. Helping Hand is pretty useless unless a Pokemon is terastallized. Now, it is possible that, like, before the shield goes up, maybe like an Incineroar is +4 with its attack. It's going to Power Trip. You do want to Helping Hand that. Helping Handing a non-terastallized Pokemon when the shield is up is not beneficial to anyone. The reason being is because the shield reduces your attack by like 80%. You're not doing that much damage unless you terastallize. Let's say you're doing Earthquake. Earthquake's doing 100 damage. The shield, the raid boss's shield goes up. Now your Earthquake's only doing 20 damage instead of 100. You're Helping Handing a move that's only doing like 20 damage. It's not beneficial. You see what I'm saying? Helping Hand is really great once that Pokemon's able to terastallize, and then you'll want to Helping Hand it. So in sense, if you're thinking like, what can I do here? Should I Helping Hand? When should I not Helping Hand? I would never Helping Hand a non-terastallized Pokemon against a Raid Shield. It's just kind of wasting time. You're better off, honestly, like attack cheering or healing, or in this case, just using Crunch. So keep that in mind. You want a Helping Hand, the terastallized Pokemon. That is where you're really going to get the best bang for your buck with Umbreon. So that's all 6 Pokemon. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you need any help, I'll be streaming on Twitch. But whenever Primarina comes out, whenever Sceptile comes out, whenever Incineroar comes out for Alligator, I'll be doing raid builds for all of those too. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you guys next time. Bye.